Hey guys, welcome back to What Does the Fox Say? It's been a couple of weeks since I did a video. I tried to do some while I was at the NRBC, and like my shorts and my reels on Facebook, they worked fine, but the videos I did, I couldn't get them to load. So I had like 5 sitting there saying they were uploading and they didn't upload. And shit just didn't work. So I'm afraid I didn't get any videos done while I was gone to the NRBC, and then my mom flew in from England while I was there, and so she was here. She's here right now. She's been here all week, and today was the first time I actually made the time to sit down and do a quick video. I'm gonna try to make this one quick. Who knows? It might not be quick. There's been a lot of shit going on. Some is normal, some is random. All the horses are good, so that's something to be thankful for. It keeps raining here in East Texas. It keeps raining in Texas in general. It was just about dried out enough that we could drag the outdoor arena, and ride on it yesterday, and we got like another inch of rain last night, so it'll be, I don't know, 4 or 5 days before I can put the tractor out there and go back to dragging and riding again. So it's okay. We'll just keep working circles, lead changes, and working our turnarounds. We're getting into that time of year that gets exciting. We're starting to think about showing 3-year-olds. Got 4 3-year-olds for this year. I'm pretty happy with all of them. I think all of them have some sort of earning potential in the reining pen. We'll find out here pretty quick when we take 2 to the Paint World and show the first 2 there at Paint World. I'm pretty excited about those. One I won the paint fraternity on a few years ago, on a half brother to, and the other one I won a world title on her father. So I'm pretty happy. I'm excited to go get to show those ones. Anyway, I'll give you a recap on the NRBC. For me, the NRBC, it didn't suck. I did not get done what I wanted to get done. My horses were good, they just were not good enough. And in that kind of arena, in that kind of company, at an event like the NRBC, it's tough. It's tough, and it's a reality check a lot of the time that, sometimes you think your horses are good and they're just not quite there, and it's okay. It's okay. All you got to do is work harder, try harder, swing again, because, if you don't keep swinging, you're never going to hit. My horse I showed in the NRBC, she was good. We had a couple little bobbles. We were still okay. We just missed the finals by 1 spot, which is kind of soul destroying, but I was very happy for a few of my friends that made the finals and did extremely well in the finals. I enjoyed watching them go show, and I was there cheering for them in the finals as they were stepping back and swinging hard. So it was a lot of fun to watch some friends of mine go in the finals and go at it really well. So very happy for those guys. I showed another one in the regular open, and he was good. He felt ready, but it's kind of hard when your timing is off on your first stop. You run in the middle of the pen, timing's off, and then you leave a big half to a 1-point penalty in the first turnaround. And as I'm sitting there in the middle of the pen, I'm thinking to myself, as I've run in, I've stopped, I've backed up, I've turned to the right, I turned to the left, and in my mind, I've gone minus half, 0, penalty half, plus 1. And I'm like, I'm probably sitting pretty close to a 68 and a half before I lope out the middle of the pen. Like, Whitey had some ground to cover. He had to move on a little bit. And he did. He was plus half, plus half, plus half, plus half. We salvaged a 212 and a half, 213, something like that. But to start off behind the 8 ball with 2 minus maneuvers coming in the gate, I was very happy with him. He showed like a true champion, and you know, the timing, we just didn't quite hit that first stop like I wanted to, and I had to hold him a little bit, and that took away from it. Um, and the overturn, that was me. That wasn't him. He stopped when I told him to stop. I was just late. Um, and then after that, he took way better care of me. Um, and then that horse Yoda, he'd been shown by Lindsay and the Green and the rookie the entire week prior to me showing him, and it didn't do him any harm at all to do that. He was on point for me. But he handled Lindsay very well, and Lindsay handled him very well, and she ended up picking up her first NRHA paycheck at that horse show, which I couldn't be happier for her about. She worked hard all week. I mean, I drug her out there at 3:34 in the morning every single morning. I was like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is how you're going to do this. This is how you're going to go do that. And she took the grueling schedule that I have at a horse show very well, and she paid attention, and she did her job as best she could, and she had some great rides on that horse, getting to know him, their first horse show together. I was very happy with that. And then I took my youth kids and two youth kids with me, and they were typical youth kids. They would get it right, and then they'd mess something up, and they'd get it right, then they mess something up, and it can be difficult as a coach to help somebody when their head just isn't there at the time, and it's okay. That's part of showing. You got to learn to roll with it. Some are good. Some horse shows are good. Some classes are good. Some horse shows are bad. Some classes are bad. I mean, I've gone through periods of time where I couldn't get a check. It didn't matter how hard I tried. I think I went a full year at one point while I was in Kentucky where I never got a check. I just couldn't seem to get it done. And we kind of got to get out of that rut, and it's tough sometimes. But they had a lot of fun, and now we're gearing up to go the NRHA Derby. Gonna spend a little time here at home this month. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay home. Gonna ride my 2-year-olds. Gonna ride my 3-year-olds. Gonna prepare to go to the Derby. I've got 3 youth kids going to the Derby. I've got a Green Rain to go to the Derby, and I'm gonna take my paint fraternity horses to the Derby and school on them, which will do them the world of good to be there for 10 days before we go to Fort Worth. As far as what's been going on at home, we would love to mow. The grass is growing by the minute, but it is too wet. The kids tried to mow a little bit yesterday. Caden mowed for a little while, and then Cameron noticed that one of the blades was about to fall off the mower, so he fixed that, and then he mowed for a little while. It dried up enough that he could do that. And then rained last night. I'd really love to put the tractor in the bush hog out in the pastures where the grass is up to the babies' bellies. Now, I mowed when we had the eclipse, so that's how fast this grass is growing. It's been 80 degrees every day, but rain most of the time too. So we can't, this time of year it's like this. We just can't keep up with the mowing. We have to wait till it dries off enough to be able to go do that. And yesterday, I don't think of this. Yesterday, so my mom's here. She's visiting. She's 80-something years old. I don't know, old as the hills. She's coming out here every day helping clean stalls and water horses and watch a few ride around. So yesterday, she's out here helping. Caden's helping. Rachel's out here cleaning stalls. Lottie's out here helping. And it's funny that more people in the barn equates to things not getting done. And it's one of those deals where there were 4 people in here cleaning stalls and doing chores yesterday, yet somehow shit still gets missed. And I get done with lessons and things at lunchtime, and I'm like, oh, I'm having to go water down pellets. We use the pelleted bedding that you wet down with the water hose. And it's like, really, 4 of you in here and nobody could wet down the bedding? But it's okay. There's only 2 stalls. Still, it makes you think, and this is why we keep our deal small, and we don't have grooms and assistants and interns as much as I would love to have minions. and be like, you go do this and you go do that. And, send somebody to unpack the trailer and send somebody to repack the trailer. The problem is yes, many hands make light work, but at the same time, too many cooks will spoil the broth. I mean, so, it's one of those deals. That's why we keep it small. So that way, it's one of those things where we know if we've done it ourselves, we know it's done and it's done to our satisfaction. There is nothing worse than having to, trot along behind somebody saying, hey, you've missed this. Hey, you've got done, do that. Got to do this like this. This is how I like it done. Because all of us horse trainers, we're very particular in how we like things done at home. We've gotten to a point where the way we do things is how we like it, how we want it done. And it's very hard for us to go, okay, yeah, there's another way of doing it. But I like it this way. So that was kind of funny to me. And then I don't know what's going on, whether it's a full moon yesterday or what. I took my truck into town to the oil place, get oil change done on it. It needed a new crankcase filter, it needed a new air filter, that kind of stuff. It needed a service done. And I felt like I was in there forever. I was probably in there almost 2 hours. Between waiting to get in there and actually getting in there and them having the hood up and doing what they got to do. There's a guy next to me getting all kinds of bent out of shape because they were taking so long. And I'm like, there's 10 cars sitting here waiting to get work done, and there's 3 guys. And they're running around, they're doing their jobs. And one of them obviously hadn't been there very long. He was still trying to learn and figure it all out. He kept coming past me and apologizing that it was taking so long. I'm like, I'm sitting in my truck playing on my phone. It's Saturday afternoon. I had allotted Saturday afternoon to go and do this. So all I had left to do after getting oil changed and stuff done on my truck was go to Track Supply, pick up a pallet of shavings, and come back to the house and feed. I didn't care, and part of the reason I'd allocated Saturday afternoon for this rather than my normal, Sunday or get that done on a lunchtime was because I ended up in the chiropractor's office Friday morning. So, and I know where this stems from. I had rotated my pelvis and pushed one hip up, one hip down, and put out a couple of vertebrae in my lower back. And it was sore Saturday morning. When I went to leave the NRBC, my back was sore. I had trouble loading the trailer. Caden had to do a lot of the heavier lifting. Not because I'm a lazy son of a bitch, but because I was kind of sore. So I took some painkillers and I carried on riding through the week and everything seemed fine. And I was riding 2-year-olds Friday morning and riding one little filly around, and we'd loped right and turned right, and we were loping left, and just kind of felt something pinch back here in my lower back, and I was like, that doesn't feel good. So I stopped loping and I went to try and stretch it out, and it's like, yeah, that's not helping. So I step off and I kind of hobble my way back into the barn, and I'm put her in the wash rack and I'm unsaddling her. My wife looks at me and she's like, you okay? And I'm like, no, my back hurts. Anyway, I take the cinch off, put up my back cinch, and I go to pull the saddle off and it drops. I can't lift it. And now I'm like hunching over and I'm like, oh shit. I've been here before, and the last time I felt like this, I had to be carried into the doctor's office. So I called, one of my customers is a chiropractor, horse and people. And I called her, I'm like, hey, where are you? She's like, oh, I'm in Lexington at the Kentucky Derby. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I think I just put my back out. I was hoping you could help me. And she's like, no, I'm in Kentucky. I can't help you. I'll be back next week. I'll come see you Wednesday. So I make a few phone calls. Call one chiropractor office in town. They pick up the phone, and I'm like, hey, do you guys do walk-ins? Can I come see you? She's like, no, we don't really do walk-ins, and we're closed today. Bitch, you picked up the phone. How can you be closed if you picked up the phone? Anyway, doesn't matter. I call another one. I'm like, hey, you guys do walk-ins? Yes, we do. Come see us. We close at noon. If you can get here by 11, I'm like, I can do that. I can take enough. I can self-medicate enough, and I can get in the truck and get there by 11. I can do that. So I spent 20 minutes sat in the Vibe plate in the middle of the barn and took myself off to the chiropractor. And you know, I get in there and I'm talking to him. I'm laid on the table, and he's like, "What did you do?" I was like, "My job. This is sometimes how we end up." So this is where this stems from. So I was on Friday at the NRBC youth and short stirrup classes. I rode the short stirrup horse with my stirrups up high at the kid's length. And I ran him and stopped him, and I turned him, and I did everything at her length so that my leg touched him where she was going to touch him. And you know, I think doing that, riding with my stirrups so short for about 45 minutes an hour, you know, just kind of twisted me around a little bit. And then I didn't pay any attention to it, and I carried on doing my job, and it just, by Friday, was like, you know, you're done, you need to get this looked at. So I'm in there, and he refers to my ligaments and tendons as straps of old leather that have been weathered. I'm like, yeah, probably. I mean, I spend 10 to 12 hours a day sitting on top of a horse, kicking, pulling, doing this, doing that, pushing, maneuvering. So I can understand that, and I've done this for a long time. You know, and as we go forward with the videos, I'm going to start doing a little bit more history on it, how we got here, where we've come from, how we ended up as British living in East Texas, training and showing reining horses. Because, you know, the whole packing your family up and moving them 5,500 miles was a job in itself. But anyway, so that's kind of how my week has gone. And then obviously it rained last night again, so my plan of mowing pastures today went out the window. Had a phone call from a friend of mine this morning who's like, you know, you need to take your little what does the fox say deal, and you need to start doing more training, coaching, tip stuff on it. And I'm like, it wasn't why I started this, but I'm sure we can. So I'm going to look into setting up another Facebook page for it, and making it something that a lot of the, you know, youth kids, non-pros, amateur riders, people who don't maybe have access to a trainer that they can use, or can't truly afford to put a horse in training and go get the lessons on it. Setting up something like that. You know, again, this whole endeavor I went on was never about trying to become rich and famous. I chose to train horses for a living. I was never going to become rich and famous. You know, not going to happen. And that wasn't why we did this. You know, we did this because it was an insight into life in the horse industry, between keeping the bills paid, keeping the family happy, and, you know, going up and down the road, keeping your customers happy. And you can't keep everybody happy all the time, but you can piss a lot of them off. So that brings me to another point. Got a new horse in, and he's not a bad horse at all. But older horse, very, very, very green. Not mean, not dangerous, but green. And I took him in right before the NRBC, and I kind of had that little voice in the back of my head that was like, dude, don't take this horse. Don't take this horse. You know, my conscience was saying, don't take this one. The last time you took one like this, you broke your tailbone, and it was just a bad deal. So on one hand, I've got my smart side of me, and there is a smart side of me, guys. So, you know, every now and again, I do some smart things, and I do say some things that are not dumbassish. It does happen. I'm not a complete dumbass. but I can be a dumbass. Um, so my conscience is like, don't take this horse. It's going to be a bad deal. You know, my bank account says, motherfucker, you need to take this horse because you've got to keep the bills paid. You've got to keep stuff coming in. You've got to have your grocery horses that, help pay the bills and help pay for everything else you've got to do outside of your mortgage, your insurances and stuff. And that's a scam too. But anyways, so I take this horse and he's not bad. We get him in the round pen and we get him saddled and I get to riding him and he's actually doing pretty good. He's not bad. He just doesn't know anything. And I go off to the NRBC. Rachel has him. She's working the horses while I'm going round pen and lunging, that kind of thing. I guess he drags her down the barn aisle one day and she has to kind of, twist the knuckle clamps on him and be like, look, don't be like that. His owner came in this week and I saddled him up, got him out, took him out there, got on him, was riding him around, and she was extremely happy with the progress that's been made. But she's like, but he was doing this as a 2 or 3 year old. He was doing this and he was doing that and blah blah blah, and she started telling me about lead changes, and she had been having trouble with lead changes on this horse, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but your horse doesn't have forwards, backwards, left, and right, walk, trot, lope. How are you getting to where you're asking him to change leads? To me, he rides like a horse that's had 20 rides on him and barely made it out of the round pen. Now, bear in mind, this guy's 5. And she's like, well, he's bred to do it. You watch him in the pasture, he does all this stuff on his own. I'm like, they can all run and stop and turn and change leads in the pasture. Yeah, they can do that. It doesn't mean they're gonna do it when you strap a saddle to their back and start asking them they should, and tell them they should go do it whenever. But we get into this conversation and she starts telling me, how good he was with the last trainer and this and that. And I'm like, well, look, this is where I feel he's at. And I don't sugarcoat things for people. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I try to treat people how I want to be treated. If I was an owner and I had a horse in training, I would want to be told the truth. About the shoeing, the worming, the teeth, the vet. I don't mind if something's going on, but I just want to know about it. You haven't rode him for a few days because he got sore or whatever. That's fine. Just say so. What I don't like is when people with horses are not necessarily 100% forthcoming with the information and they allow you to find it out on their own. And then they get kind of mad when you call them out on it. And you go, look, I do this for a living. I'm not going to get myself hurt. That's why I take the time that I take, because I'm the only one here that rides other than my children who come and ride with me. And yes, I let them lope some broke horses, and I might let them ride my 3-year-olds around a little bit. I'll let them warm horses up in the round pen or on the lunge line, and I'll stick one of the kids on to cool them down after I'm done. But they're not training on these horses. That's my job. So when people are like, well, he was doing this and he was doing that, and the last trainer this and the last trainer that, it's like, if you do not like my time scale and what I plan on doing and how I plan on accomplishing it, feel free to take him back to the last trainer. It's not a big deal. I'm not gonna get mad about it. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. But the deal is and I've said this before, I know I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again, and I will say it multiple times. There are 2 things I feel that a lot of younger, hungrier trainers, or maybe, guys coming into it need to understand. And you know, one of these two things is that there is not a horse on this planet worth your neck. If you are trying to make a living doing this shit, there is not a horse on this planet worth you breaking your neck, your back, or killing yourself over. If you get hurt, if this is your main source of income, and you get hurt, you have no income. It's not like you can fall back. We don't have retirement plans. Most of us don't have savings accounts that we can, get by for 6 months if times get real bad. This place that I've built here in East Texas is my retirement. So if I'm not up every day working, doing training, schooling, coaching, driving the truck and trailer, I'm not earning. So that's one of the first things is there's not a horse out there worth your neck. If you think that son of a bitch is dangerous, send it on down the road. I'm not afraid to admit defeat or say, hey, look, this one, he's not the kind of horse I want to ride. And you have to use judgment to that too. If he's coming in because he's a problem, most problems are man-made. You find the root cause, you might be able to fix it. Second is, and this will upset a few people, and I really don't care. There is not a customer out there worth your sanity. It's just not worth it. If you can't conduct yourself every day, and because we pour our heart and souls into these horses for other people, there's not a customer out there worth your sanity. If you are losing sleep because a customer is too pushy or, too demanding or not very good at paying their bills and they kind of leave you hanging and, you have conversations with them. And that's one of the big things. You've got to have open communication. I don't mind if a customer is going to have problems paying their bill as long as they tell me, hey man, I'm strapped right now. I can't pay this. But it's okay. Let me know. Keep me posted. It's okay. I can cover you for a little bit, but I'm not Walmart. I can't float your hobby for you. I'm paying to feed him alfalfa, grain. I'm shoeing him. I'm worming him. I'm bedding his stall down. I'm cleaning his stall. We're doing all the work. I'm riding him. Communicate with me. I'll work with you on it. It's okay. But don't go radio silent and just not pay or be bad pay or be a pain as far as being a customer, because we do work our asses off in this industry. And most of the time I found the people who are a little pushy or the not difficult customers, but the ones that can be a little troublesome to deal with, and if you find you're having to tread on eggshells around them, this, that, and the other, you probably don't need them. And the other thing I don't deal with is drama. I won't tolerate drama. I'll fire a customer over drama. I'd be like, you know what? Go. I don't need it. My bond, my rules. Because it's just not worth it. I would much rather tighten my belt, eat a little less, and not be able to go buy a case of beer or something than have to deal with somebody who, just makes me want to bang my head against the wall, or even you see their name pop up on the phone and you're like, oh, what now? I don't want customers like that. It's hard, and it is hard to keep everybody happy. It is very hard to keep everybody happy, including the household. I got to keep mama happy. The kids are normally pretty happy anyways, I think. They don't tell me very often if they're not. But that's all part of it. And it's I struggle with the disassociation of barn and house because the two are combined. We eat, sleep, breathe, drink reining horses. that's what we do, and it's not that we can take our boots off. Like a trainer I worked with a while back was like, look man, you get done at the end of the day, take your boots off, put them inside the tack room door, put your shoes on, tennis shoes, whatever, go back to the house, forget about what's going on in the barn. I can't do that. I go back to the house, like right now, obviously I'm sitting on the couch in the office. What I should be doing is working on NRHA Derby stalls, paint world entries, Derby entries, because I've got all that stuff coming up here pretty quick. Deadlines for the stalls, I think, are the 15th of this month, and I've got time on the ancillary entries, but paint world entries have to be in, I believe, by the end of this week too. So I'm supposed to be working on that, yet here I am sitting on the couch being a lazy ass, talking to my phone for all 12 of the people that watch. So, so with that being said, you've got to be very careful. And that's why I'm one of those people. I'm like, look, I have fun doing this. I do this because I chose to. It's what it was, well, like I said before, it beat getting a real job. But I'm finding that balance between home life, work life, and keeping your customers all lined out. It's like herding cats. You gotta be like, hey, you go here, you go there, timing everybody. But you can't have those people that make you beat your head against a wall. And some of them, they just need the guidance. They don't know. And I said this to this one person this week. I was like, look, I was told this a while back. It took me a long time to truly understand it because I'm a slow learner. But people don't know what they don't know, and they have to have somebody teach it to them. So, and this one particular customer, she obviously has a horse background, but there's a lot she doesn't know as far as progressing a horse from it being, just because they have a saddle on does not mean they're broke. Just because you can put a bridle on them and they don't buck you off when you get on them doesn't mean they're broke. My idea of a broke horse is not the same as 80% of people out there who ride horses. I mean, there's a lot of guys I see when I go to some of these smaller shows, local open shows. I'm like, oh, I hope you survive. Because the horses aren't broke. They don't have true forwards, backwards, left, and right. And are able to go at the desired speed until told otherwise. And that's where I was going with this one lady. And I was like, look, you sent your horse here for a reason. And that reason is that he is not broke. He was not progressing at the rate you wanted him to. He was not doing the things you felt like you'd like him to be doing for what you were paying. And you've come here, and this is how it's going to work. I told you, the first 30 days is going to be this, the next 30 days are going to be this, the third 30 days is going to be this. By the time I get to 120 days, I am going to be able to tell you one of two things. Your horse is broke enough for you to take home and he's safe and you can go have fun with him. Or, yes, I think he has the ability to become a show horse, but it's going to take me some time to put the rest of this stuff in there to give him that point. Bearing in mind, it takes about 2 years to take one as a long-yearling, fresh 2-year-old to showing, properly knowing his job, able to complete all the maneuvers in succession, one after the other. It's anywhere from 18 months to 2 years. So of training, not just riding, of training, of teaching, of coaching, of showing that horse what you want. So we had that conversation this week while they were here, and I was like, look, it's that simple. Either, you let me do the job you've hired me to do, which is, A, make sure this horse is broke and safe enough for you should he not make a show horse. And 2, see if he'll make a show horse. If you're good with letting me do that and using my time frame, we're fine. If you're not good with that, the gate will open on your way out. It'll let you out, no harm, no foul. I mean, I'm not gonna, customers do come and customers do go. I'm very fortunate that I have quite a few customers who have been with me a long time, 10 plus years. And I truly feel like they've been with me for that long because I haven't sugarcoated it, I haven't bullshitted them, I haven't lied to them, and I haven't spent their money excessively. And I've tried to tell them, hey, look, this horse isn't going to work for me in this area. We can go this way with it, or you can rethink what you want to do. You want to show him, you want to sell him, and I'm very open with my customers about that, because I feel like, okay, I may lose a horse short term, I may lose 2 horses short term, but that customer will come back because they know that they can trust what I'm telling them. And what I'm telling them is exactly what I think at the time, not what I think they want to hear. Because at the same time, I don't want to waste their money, and I don't want to waste my time, my wife's time, my children's time, which is what I would be doing by keeping that horse in the barn and having to ride it, even though I know it's not going to be what they want it to be. I'm just taking away from myself. Yes, he's in the barn and he's paying, but that one horse could be me going to my son's basketball game, or could be me going to Sophie's gymnastics, or it could be us going out for dinner on a Friday or Saturday evening, or us spending time doing something. I mean, we've lived here in East Texas for 5 years. I have yet to have gone into Dallas. I think I've been to Greenville twice. I very rarely go into Sulphur Springs unless we have customers with us as far as going out to eat. Sulphur Springs is such a pretty town. Pretty town. Beautiful place. Bars, restaurants, courtyard. It's so nice, and there's so many places to go eat and hang out with people, yet we don't because we're here and we're working. And that's something my mom has brought up to me too. She's like, you guys, you work 7 days a week and you don't go do anything. You don't go out as a family. I'm like, no, we clean stalls as a family. We clean stalls and we take mares and we go to horse shows. Is that not the same? That's like vacation, right? Horse showing's like vacation. Yes. The fuck it is. So it's very hard. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up real quick because we're running close to 40 minutes. I said this is going to be quick, and I'm looking at the clock running. It's like 40 minutes already of me driveling on about bullshit. Anyway, I had a phone call from a friend of mine this morning about setting up a whole different deal, helping, coaching. I've had a lot of people say to me about, are you going to do any tips, coaching? Well, we're going to set something up. Because you all keep asking for it, we're going to set something up. I haven't figured it out yet. It's probably going to be, just general horsemanship, schooling, training for those guys that can't get to us and maybe just need some help, tips, send videos, whatever. I'm going to look into it today after I get done doing my derby and paintball stuff that I've got to do. So keep a lookout for that. I don't know when that's going to hit, but we're going to get started with it soon. Now that I'm home and I've got decent internet service, I'm going to try and do some more videos. Dino's going to be here shoeing hopefully this week if he can get out of Magnolia, because I know all the roads are flooded down there. There's been some major heavy rain. So I know he's been kind of stuck this week. Other than that, I'm going to try to get back to putting up more videos of the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. The 3-year-olds I'm so excited about going showing. I schooled on one at the NRBC, and he made me look like a horse trainer, and I love him for that. And futurity season kicks off for us at the Paint World at the end of June. with Whiz Kids Rough Chick and Done It for Guns. So those are our first two fraternity horses out the gate. Then we'll see about where we're taking everybody else, whether we're going to go to the 100X in Waco or, you know, the Tulsa Classic, who's going to go where. We'll go back to Memphis this fall. And then, of course, Oklahoma City. Right now I have two that I'm going to try to show out there. And I can't be more excited about these guys coming up for later on this year. And we're going to take Caden to the Derby, and we're going to try and get him qualified for the Run for $1 Million, so in the youth category, and see what we can get done there. Anyways, I'm going to cut this off because I have dribbled on enough about random shit. Later. I'll catch up with you guys later on this week.